Hello and welcome to another episode of Madam Suzanne. I'm your host, Freddie Shaban. And today I'm going to answer a question that's been asked of me many times over the past year, which is what makes for a very successful escort? So I narrowed it down to 10 character traits that I noticed in the escorts I worked with that made him a more successful escort, and also in the escorts that used to work with me and became an independent escort later on and became extremely successful. So those character traits across the board are the common denominator of almost all the successful escorts I've ever encountered and worked with. And here we go. So the number one character trait that I noticed of all the escorts I worked with that were successful is that they are very motivated. So whether money is your number one motivator, whether it was a sick mother, whether it was two children that need to be taken care of and made to have a good life, whether it was to start a new business or a new career with the money, whatever the motivation is, I noticed that being motivated was definitely a strong character in a successful escort. I've dealt with escorts that had very low motivation. They wouldn't get out of bed for even a $3,000 assignment or session. So it makes a huge difference when someone is motivated. The second thing I noticed in a personality trait of successful escorts is they're very ambitious. I've never met a successful person that did not have this in their character. You got to be ambitious. You got to want to be successful and to have a better life and have better things in life and do better things and bigger things. And this is one of those things that you can't teach somebody how to be ambitious. It's something that's built in within you. Like I know for myself, I can speak for myself, where nobody has to follow me around with a stick, right? I've always been an ambitious kid. Ever since I was a young boy, all the way through until now. Even today, even I'm not making that much money out of these videos, you see that I'm very ambitious. Now I'm always doing at least 1 or 2 videos every single day, 5 days a week. So that must be something that's built in. It's like a fire within you that pushes you to get up in the morning, go to the gym, get your work done. And this was a very important character that I noticed all the way across the board with all the successful escorts I ever worked with and I saw working on their own. So it's a very important character trait. Now, the third character trait that I noticed that was all the way across the board with all the escorts I worked with that became very successful is they're able to focus. No matter what task they have at hand, whether they are with a client or trying to get something together or trying to do something or get ready or whatever it is in their life, especially in this business, you gotta be focused, right? You gotta be able to stay the course and be on goal and be on target all the time. And this is not just exclusive for our industry. These character traits that I'm talking about are all the way across the board in any profession. Doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a salesperson, a CEO, an executive, you name it, a business owner, you've got to be able to be focused. And to be honest with you, focus is something that's within you, but you can also work on it to even be more affluent at it, right? You can always do some self-help things and exercises that will help you to be a little bit more focused. So there's a lot of things that come in play. But for the intents and purposes of this video, I noticed that a lot of the escorts that I worked with that became really good at it and they made a lot of money and were very successful at it, they were extremely focused. So this is also a very important trait to have. Number 4, disciplined. It doesn't matter what you do in life. You've got to have discipline. And I can tell you, as a young boy, I was always really, really disciplined. I would come home from school, and before I did anything else, guess what I did? Without anybody asking me, from the age of 5 on, I did my homework. And I've always been that way. I was very, very disciplined. In my bodybuilding career, I'm very disciplined. Doing this every day, I'm very disciplined. As an escort agent, I was extremely disciplined. And every single escort I worked with that became successful in this field has one thing in common. They're also very disciplined. They did this in the morning, and then they came to work, and they worked. Every single job was given to them. Then they went home and did this other thing, and they just regimented like this. They're very, very disciplined in what they do. And even today, I know some escorts that I worked with in the past that had moved on to other things, and they still have that character in them. Extremely disciplined. So it doesn't matter what field you're in. You must have discipline in order to be successful in whatever it is that you do. And the number 5 trait I want to talk to you about is being organized. Myself, I've always been organized ever since I was a kid. It's something that's built in within me. A lot of the escorts that I worked with were really, really organized. Some of them weren't, but they still managed to be successful. But in my humble opinion, being organized is really important, especially if you're working for yourself, because you don't have anybody else to tell you what to do, how to do, when to do it. And you have a lot of things to do. And especially in this field, and especially working in a country like the US, where it's illegal, one must be really, really organized. Because if you're not, sooner or later, you're going to fall. You're going to slip and fall. Trust me. So being organized all the way around is extremely important. To organize your thoughts, organize your plans, organize your life, organize your records, organize your screening process with your clients, with your prospects. You must be very organized. Otherwise, you will get lost. And when you get lost, trouble is on the horizon. So even though I know successful people that are very unorganized, but it's one of those character traits that it does help a lot if you do have it. So there you go. Number 6, an effective communicator. Out of all the traits, out of everything you can think about in life, this one here is probably the most important character trait one must have in order to be successful in anything in life. Whether it's a relationship, friendship, partnership, business, pleasure, no matter what it is, you've got to be able to effectively communicate with the people that you are involved with, or no matter what level it is. And in this field, being an escort is definitely no exception. In fact, in my humble opinion, working as an escort agent for over 30 years with a ton of escorts and clients, I gotta tell you, and that's probably one of the secrets of my success, to be honest, is I was able to focus on the person I'm talking to and trying to communicate with and figuring out what kind of person they are and how am I going to effectively communicate, what level they communicate on. And the successful escorts I worked with were very, very good at communicating, not only with me, but more importantly, with the clients. They were able to decipher the best way to communicate with that particular client. Look, we all communicate a little bit differently, okay? But effective communication is effective communication, which means being able to listen to what somebody's saying to you, right? Being an active listener, meaning like right now, I'm talking to you, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch or dinner or whatever, what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm really actively talking to you 100%. And if you are here in front of me, I'll be listening to every single word you say. because it matters. And that's what makes for a successful partner, husband, wife, son, daughter, businessman, and of course, an escort. The better you can communicate with your clients and everybody else that you're dealing with, believe me, the more money you're going to make, the easier it's going to be for you, and the happier everybody's going to be. So this is really, really, really important to focus on. And don't forget to listen. Really listen what somebody's saying. Number 7, simple, just being a friendly person. I've went through life telling so many people, can't you just be nice? Just be friendly. But of course, it's one of those traits that you're either a grouchy, grumpy type of person that don't like people and probably don't even like yourself, but we won't talk about this. For today, we're talking about character traits of a successful escort. And being friendly makes a huge difference. I noticed a big difference between somebody that was naturally friendly or that it was forced. And guess what? The clients are not stupid. My target client was very sophisticated, highly educated, very successful businessman. And these people could tell if somebody's lying to them. These guys are very sophisticated people, salespeople, business people, they've been around. So the escort that was really friendly, like I remember Nikki was really, really friendly, like Tanya, the one I did an interview with, that I used to work with, she was extremely friendly. And guess what? That went a long way with clients. So that's another one of those character traits that across the board, all the escorts that I worked with that did really, really well was genuinely, naturally friendly. They just had that character in them. So you either are or you're not, or you got to be a good actress. And you know what? You can get away with it, but a lot of people can decipher between true or fiction. Number 8, caring. Now, to be fully honest with you and fully transparent, I wrestled with whether I should put this here or not, but I'll tell you why I put it in. It's true, like I dealt with female escorts, of course, and the more caring and they have that maternal instinct, especially the ones that had children already, those are the ones that actually I was able to close some really good exclusive arrangement deals, very lucrative deals, because they were really, really naturally caring. And clients sometimes came to us. Not all the time it was for sex. I talked about this in my books and through all my videos. A lot of them came for just to get a little tenderness, a little care. They wanted companionship. They wanted to be with someone that just gave them a little hug or touched them and let them know that they cared. They wanted to feel the energy of a caring person. This is why some of the escorts I worked with, they were really, really nurturing and very caring naturally. They had that character in them, whether they are mothers. Well, most of them were mothers, but a lot of them, some of them weren't. Those are the ones that really did really, really well and those are the ones that clients actually started following for them, right? So it's definitely something that gentlemen, clients can feel, and they're attracted to that. And we all had mothers, of course. We didn't come here just fell out of the sky. So we always want that to feel that caring, that little caring touch, that little caring, tender moment, that word that, in whatever situation you're in, and especially in this case, because it's a very intimate setting, being an escort with a client. So it's definitely worthy if someone has that in their character, that they're a very caring and nurturing person. Number 9, being affectionate. Look, you don't have to have that trait if you worked as an attorney in a courthouse or criminal attorney or whatever, because it's a very dry subject, right? You don't have to have it if you're running a car wash. You don't have to have it if you're doing floors or carpets or building houses, right? But in our case, in this job, it makes a huge difference if somebody has this character built inside of them. Why? Because this is a very intimate type of setting. This is an intimate-based job. We sell intimacy, right? And part of it is definitely affection. Look, there's been escorts that I worked with and some that I knew, very, very dry, very matter of fact, and it's called being mechanical in our business. What is something that is not attractive and is very frowned upon. It is as bad as being a clock watcher to a lot of clients, right? They don't like that clock watching. 59, 60, boom, they're up, they're going, they don't care what you say. Not good. It's not what you do, is how you do it. It's not what you say, is how you say it. And in this case, talking about affectionate, in our business, because it's such an intimate type of setting, right? And it's a body to body, it's an energy to energy, and it's that sexual energy and it's that, physical energy, right? Being affectionate makes a huge difference from escort to escort. The more affectionate you are naturally, the more the client is going to feel it. And guess what? The more repeat clientele you're going to get. And this is another one of our, secrets of our success being in this business, is that the escorts that I noticed that were very affectionate, naturally, they did really, really well because these gentlemen were able to feel that and they wanted more of that. And we're not talking about sex now, okay? I want you to distinguish between sex act and being affectionate. Affection could be a little touch, could be the way you hug the person, could be the way you touch the person, it could be the way you caress the person. See, that's affection. And that's something you can't teach. You're either an affectionate person, which is if you've dated somebody that were really affectionate, they're always huggy, feely, that's an affectionate person. People that are very cold and dry, they barely want to hug you. They hug you sideways and they barely like, okay, and they don't want to kiss you. And trust me, it made a huge difference being an affectionate escort. Believe me. Okay, last but not least, I saved the best for last. Aside from communication, in this business, I'm going to tell you something. This here is by far the most important personality trait an escort can have. Period. Which is having a hearty personality. Hearty personality means someone possesses the type of personality that they can deal with stress in a very good way. They don't panic, they don't go off the handle, they don't get lost. They're able to do well under pressure and deal with any situation that comes their way. As you know, in our business, anything can happen. And everything is dependent on how well you screen your clients. Now, sometimes escorts screen well, sometimes they mess up. So even when we think sometimes, and I've done this too, when everybody looks good on paper, but when it came down to it and they show up, you don't know that the guy is a little bit too harsh or too aggressive or too, dominant or whatever. Sometimes you can't really feel that off the person. You have to be able to meet the person, have a session with them in order to decipher that, right? So that's why it was very important that the escorts I had, that they had that toughness inside of them, not on the exterior, but the interior. They've been through a lot and they can handle a lot. There's some people that get into traffic and they want to explode and go off the handle into a mental hospital. But there's others that they get thrown at this situation, that situation, they get this challenge, this obstacle, but they still get up, dust it off, and keep going. That's what's called a hearty personality. I happen to have a hearty personality. I've been through hell and back many times of nobody's fault but mine, okay? I take full responsibility for all my actions and my decisions and my bad decisions. And that's what led to me having, drama in certain situations in my life. But what saved my butt, the person you're hearing right now, the one I'm talking to you right now, is that I have a hearty personality, okay? And I get that from my mother, because no matter what I go through, I'm able to handle it, not go off the handle, not go nuts, not end up on medication, none of that, right? get up, dust it off, and keep going. Learn from it and keep going, and just don't repeat it, right? So especially in this case, in this business, right? Stuff happens all the time, right? We let the wrong client in. We do something that the client doesn't like, or there's a miscommunication or whatever it is, right? Sometimes things go sideways. This is life. There's no such thing as perfection. Nobody's perfect, okay? We'll all make mistakes. But person that has a Hearty personality, which means they can handle stress in a very, very good way and very calmly, that person tends to be more effective in life, especially in this business as an escort, because we're dealing with strangers all the time. And sometimes you don't really know, just because he's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and just because he's worth $2 billion or whatever it is, it does not mean that they're really nice and they're going to be an easy client to have. So we have to be ready. So we don't have to get ready. We have to be ready at all times, no matter what kind of client walks in through that door. Of course, it's preferable that we have a great screening system and we can minimize that, but you're never going to minimize it to zero. There's always going to be one or two that slip through, right? And being in this business, it's very important to have a Hearty personality, because if you don't, guess what's going to happen? God forbid, you're going to end up in a situation that it's going to freak you out, and it's probably going to change you for life. And that's why, hopefully, as an escort, if someone has a Hearty personality, it makes it a lot easier, so they can handle any situation that comes their way. And that's it. Well, here you go, guys. That was the top 10 positive character traits that I thought were really important in becoming a successful escort in our business. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it to be helpful and enlightening, and hopefully you will be able to get what you want out of the content that I put out. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy.